Before we begin, be sure to check out the NASCAR Weekly Podcast tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Eric Estep's channel. Matt DiBenedetto, in my opinion, is one of the more interesting drivers that has gone from Cup down to a lower series instead of the opposite way. And I think what makes him interesting is the fact that he has really become a true journeyman driver in his tenure in NASCAR. If you don't know, Matt DiBenedetto has recently been released from Rackley War early. 3 races early, in fact, from the number 25 truck. Both had announced that they'd be splitting up, but once that news did come out and he was eliminated from the 2023 NASCAR Truck Series playoffs, well, they decided to move on and move to 2024. With so little time remaining in both the truck season and NASCAR season at large, it leaves DiBenedetto's future up for question. And it does kind of bring into question what is happening when it comes to DiBenedetto's career. Why can't he stay in one place for more than a couple seasons? And why has it been difficult for him in general just to have stability? Once again, DiBenedetto is at a career crossroads. This has been something that has been a bit of a pattern for him. I don't want to count really the times he was in lower series or tier equipment, but rather when he was in equipment that could at least once or twice a year run for wins. And it seems like it started with Levine Family Racing. When he went over to the number 95 car, he had become more and more competitive with the team. And this all culminated in one night in 2019. The Bristol Night Race, where DiBenedetto looked on his way to victory before contact with Ryan Newman and a tightening race car led to he and Denny Hamlin having a duel for the finish. Ultimately, the 11 would get by the 95, and DiBenedetto would endear himself to fans by having a tearful and emotional interview about finishing second. He came oh so close, and at that point, from what he knew, he really didn't have a ride moving forward. Hamlin and others gained tons of respect for him, and the move of him being taken out of the 95 wasn't even really in his team's hands, but rather a JGR and Toyota decision that to this day I believe Bob Levine does not agree with. But still, either way, agreeing with it or not, Levine Family Racing was moving on from him, and he would move to the number 21 Wood Brothers Ford in 2020. He was the hand-picked replacement by their former driver, Paul Menard, and he was a perennial 13th to 18th place guy. DiBenedetto was no one special in the 21, but he was somebody who could be semi-competitive, and that's really all that they needed and asked of him. It was pretty clear to him from the beginning, based on reports, that it wasn't going to be a long-term thing, though, and DiBenedetto would have to make the best out of a short situation. But he did compete. He competed every now and then, especially at super speedways for wins, and he even made the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2020. And this would all sort of lead into him being pushed out of the Penske camp a little earlier than I think he thought he would even be pushed out. You see, Austin Cindric was being set up to take over the number 21 as part of the Penske tree. But when Brad Keselowski left the 2 car to go form the alliance now of RFK Racing in the 6, well, DiBenedetto, from all reports, seemed to think that he was safe for a while. But that's not what Ford and Penske had decided. Instead, they decided to move Cindric to the number 2 car and then move Harrison Burton up to the 21, as Burton held a good amount of sponsorship that could keep the team afloat. With it, DiBenedetto was pretty much just booted to the street again. And because of this, and because of more or less feeling like he was slighted, DiBenedetto would then go to Instagram and social media to post his discretions and upset feelings about it, basically. There's no other way to put it. He just had upset feelings. And they have now since been deleted, but at that time it really hurt his credibility when it came not only maybe to the garage, but also some fans. A lot of the goodwill he had built up was now gone because by many people's accounts, it looked like he was just acting like a child. And with this, he would move down to the Truck Series in 2022 with Rackley War in the number 25 truck. He won at Talladega, and then he also made this past season's playoffs, but like we said at the opening of the video, he has now once again been pushed to the curb. And at this point, you got to be asking, what's next for DiBenedetto, and why does this keep happening? To quote Guns N' Roses, where do we go now? Well, it's late in the silly season process, so it's going to be difficult for DiBenedetto to get a prime ride. In Cup, he has 9 top 5s and 31 top 10s and about 250 starts, and his truck career the last 2 years has a win, 3 top 5s, and 19 top 10s and 43 starts. They're not the greatest numbers, but they show that if you give him good enough equipment, he will be serviceable, and that's what a lot of teams need. Maybe he could go to the 15 for Rick Ware Racing and Cup if they have sponsorship available. Not saying that it's a guarantee, but it is a team on the rise, so maybe he could help build them up, similar to what he did with the 95 team with Levine Family Racing. Maybe in the Xfinity Series, he could go part-time. Maybe have a lower team that could pop off every now and then for a good run like JD. Heck, maybe go over to Colleague part-time if they have openings, or whatever big team that can get his name out there. In my opinion, he's probably going to be going with whatever opening comes of a borderline playoff truck team, though. DiBenedetto really hasn't proven much in the last 2 years in the truck series, and I don't think that that's going to warrant him getting another ride in a higher series or get him any more sponsorship than he already has. So to me, it's going to be difficult. Why does this keep happening? Well, I think part of it is that he's just not as marketable as many other drivers are. He's not young. He's not old either, but he is not a young driver that people can mold around him or can teach different things. He's a 32-year-old driver. He still has time to recover his career. Look at Michael McDowell, for instance. I wouldn't say McDowell is somebody that really would be marketable to big-name sponsors and teams, but he was slowly but surely able to build up his career from being a starting parker in 2009 into the 2010s, all the way up to today, where he's a playoff driver, winning multiple races over the last 3 years. So that could happen with DiBenedetto, but it's going to need patience and it's going to need a bit more luck. I think luck has a good bit to do with it as well, as just things don't line up for him either. I'm not saying that he's any different from any other driver, but I think that DiBenedetto needs just a good break at some point to go his way. Again, I think he'll be in a competitive truck, but I don't see him being a top-level driver for trucks, Xfinity, and definitely not even mid-tier in Cup. But with that, I want to pass it all on to you and ask what you think. What do you think 2024 holds for Matt DiBenedetto? Where do you think he goes? Or do you think that it might be better or worse? What do you think? Let me know. And while you're at it, leave a like on this video, share this video, and subscribe to this channel for more great NASCAR content. Thank you so much to all my channel members for your continued support. Be sure to watch the NASCAR Weekly Podcast tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Eric Estep's channel. And until next time, have a good one.